Hey. So I want to say welcome back. Welcome back to the Awaken to Purpose podcast. I am your host, Larissa. And this podcast episode is going to be my first in my solo episodes. And this is going off schedule because I am dealing and I'm processing something in real time, and I really wanted to share it here. And I contemplated recording this episode, but you know what? This is going to be the episode that I almost didn't record, but I recorded. So, what I want to talk about today is, do triggers ever end? Do they ever end? Or is this a continuing process? I'm still in the healing process. I'm still on my journey. And something happened recently that started bringing up all of these things for me, where I started asking the questions, do triggers ever end? And what brought this up for me is that I thought I was okay because I've been in therapy. We'll get into that. I've been in therapy for a few years now. And I've been on my healing journey and I've been doing very well. But I went home the other day and I thought, as in home in Jamaica, and I thought I was okay until I got there. So hence the reason I'm having this discussion today, because there's something, and by the way, don't mind my eyes, swollen, bloodshot red, but I'm recording this episode. So this is what I want to talk about today. What brought me home? I went home because I had to attend 2 funerals. My uncle passed away and my grandaunt passed away. And it so happened that both were being buried within the same week. And before I got on this plane, I was already grieving and I wasn't sure. I was wrestling with the thought of, do I really want to go? So for context, my uncle still lived at the home, one of childhood homes I was abused at. And this particular home is my grandmother's house, where majority of the abuse, and let me be specific, I'm somewhat skeptical at times because I'm still trying to figure out what I can say here without causing an issue, but we're talking about sexual abuse and at the hands of my grandmother's husband. Now, my uncle was still residing in that home and he passed. So naturally, I had to go back there. And I was wrestling with that for a while before I made the decision to go. I don't know what it was about this trip, because I've been there a few times, even for my grandmother's funeral. Which was not so long ago, actually. But something about this was just hitting different. I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't know what was happening. But the fact is, I was already grieving before I landed. And as culture would have it, I am Jamaican, and what we do customary is that leading up to the actual burial, there's gatherings at the home, just night after night after night leading up. And so night after night, I was going to this house. Now, let me be clear again. I've been there. I've been there several times over the years. And now looking back in hindsight, what made this a bit different was, over the years, because of the traumas I've sustained at the house and the issues that I had with my family in recent years, I would go back to the house, but I wouldn't go inside the house. And even if I did, I was very strategic as to where I would go in the house. Most of my time would be spent on the outskirts, like on the outside, standing out by the gate. Or if I do go inside, I did not pass the veranda, which is the porch. And so this was a little bit different. And so the gatherings were being held at the house, and I was around family members as well. some of which still have not, I wouldn't say come to terms, but still have angst around the fact that I spoke out and loved ones were tossed in the midst, as in their father, grandfather, whatever the case. And these were some of the people I was going to be around. So I knew what I was walking into, and I thought I was prepared. And truth be told, no matter how prepared I was, what I was not prepared for was what happened during my time there. And again, the complexity of this, I will try to go through it. So one particular incident that set me off was one of the evenings, I think this was the night of the setup, which is, it's an all night thing leading up to the funeral the next day. I was there and I needed to use the restroom. And normally I would, if I'm at the house and I do need to pee, because this time I'm there for extended times, I would go directly to my grandmother's bathroom, not to the back of the house where there's another bathroom. So anyhow, this time I couldn't. I didn't have access to my grandmother's bathroom because they were having a prayer meeting and all the folks were sitting right there in front of my grandmother's bedroom door. And so I had to go to the back of the house. I went to the bathroom, and no sooner I went into the bathroom, I started having what I know is a panic attack. My chest started to tighten. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. It's as if I was in real time having this moment. And what I do know now, because I have some language for some of the things that I've gone through, is that the body doesn't lie. The body doesn't lie. So I walked into this house. I walked into the bathroom. And on the way to the bathroom, I had to be passing a few rooms, and I could feel my body tensing from then, but, didn't really question it. And so I went into the bathroom, and as soon as I closed the door behind me, I started having this knee-jerk reaction, PTSD. And for context, there was a particular incident that happened in that bathroom with my grandmother's husband, where he assaulted me in front of a cousin. He was a baby at the time, and I was bathing him. I had him in the bathtub, and he came in on me, and I don't have to go into details. So it's so funny how the body remembers, and my mind, as soon as the bathroom door closed, I started to have this reaction as if this was happening in real time. And I could see all of it vividly. So anyhow, in that moment, I really had to start tapping into what I have been processing and dealing with in therapy over the years, where I had to start talking to myself and reminding myself that, hey, you're okay. You're okay. You're grown now. You're an adult, and you're okay. You're safe. But try as I may, as PTSD, and as we will learn, or we know now about the reactions in real time, it was happening. So I literally had to cut my pee short and hightail it out of there. It happened. The contrast for me of being inside the house, going through the rooms, and being around family members, which was hilarious because at the time that I was heading to the bathroom, I had just seen and hugged my cousin, that he was the one that was a baby that I was bathing him, and we're cool now. And, I hugged him, but the mere fact that I went in that bathroom and this thing came up to me so real. But yeah, that was a major trigger for me at that time. So with my heart racing in real time, and I hightailed it out there, out of the bathroom, I went out on the outskirts. I'm standing by the gate and I'm watching all my family interact with each other. And I had to have a really hard talk with myself. Once again, reminding myself that it's okay. But even in that moment, I am wondering what is going through the different family members' minds, right? Because I'm watching my mom, my aunts, and my mom and a couple of my aunts are also survivors of my grandmother's husband. It's generations. And so I'm wondering, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? Is anybody else having a reaction? And for those people that grew up in the home, as in my aunts, my cousins that have very beautiful, loving memories of that house, what was it like for them? And maybe they weren't thinking anything, but in real time, that's what's going through my head. That's what my body is dealing with. That's what my nervous system is carrying, that weight in real time. And so I had to catch myself and snap out of it. Literally, I caught myself, thank God, and I started to muse on Isaiah 43 2, reminding myself that this is one of those passing through the waters moment. And he was there with me. He was there with me. So not only am I tapping into the spiritual aspect of it, but I'm also reminding myself that this happened years ago and I have been doing the work, and I'm okay. Talking to my little girl and trying to get her steady. So with that experience, that was at my grandmother's house. Now, I had an incident where just a few nights later, I had to be at my grandaunt's house. I'm there with my mom, my aunt, other family members, but I was my mom and my aunt's chauffeur because they don't drive in Jamaica. And so I'm now at my grandaunt's house, and same thing. I wanted to pee again because, again, we're there for extended hours, and I have sickle cell anemia, so I'm in Jamaica, different climate, all of that. So I'm also having to be conscious in real time. I need to hydrate. I need to take care of myself because it's a high stress situation. I need to be hydrating. So with all that hydration, now I had to pee. Grandaunt's house, and this is going to be news for some of my family members that see this video. I had to pee, so now I am having a reaction again. Why? This is a house that I've gone to, but seldom since I migrated, but I've gone to the house. The difference is, even though I've been to the house, again, like my grandmother's house, I don't go inside the house. But now I'm there and I'm around other family members. And once again, I'm watching everyone having their moments. It's a sad occasion. People are talking. Larissa wants to pee. And in real time, I'm also having a flashback to her bathroom and something that happened to me in her bathroom. Different house, childhood homes, right? Different spaces I ended up in. For context, I ended up at that grandaunt's house when I had spoken again years after my initial disclosure, and nothing had happened. But I never spoke again because I had spoken up, and my mother and they told me not to say anything. So I hadn't spoken, but at around age 13, this man struck again with my younger sister. She was 3, and so that caused me to speak again. And the women, including my mom, my aunts, grandaunts, all came together, made a decision. We will talk about that, to separate us, to take us from the house, separate us. So my baby sister and I were now split up. She's in one home. I ended up at that grandaunt's home. And as many survivors know, things happen, things follow you for some reason. It's like there's a sign. Anyhow, I ended up having an experience in her bathroom as well, at least one of her bathrooms. Now I'm at the house, and this was in my earlier years, childhood. Now I'm at the house as a grown woman, and for the first time, I'm going into this house wanting to use the bathroom. And again, my body started tensing up. And long and short of the story, I ended up going into the house. But so luckily, I went and I used the bathroom on the other side. I did not have an intense of a reaction as I did at my grandma's house, but I still had a reaction. That's the whole point. And so I started to question myself, like after all the years and after all the work that I've done over the years, I testified because I did bring my abuser to court. I've testified in a court. I've spoken publicly. I've been in therapy for a little while now. And my body still responded. And so it really had me thinking. And I've been back home a week and just a few days now. And I had to really sit with that in real time and to help my little girl to process and to understand. Prior, I would think that is a major failure rather. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't thinking along those lines. But now I had words, I had language, I had tools and resources, and I was better able to help myself through this process. And so while my body said, oh no, baby, oh no, we remember this place, we remember these spaces, we remember these rooms. In real time, I had to be telling myself, yes, it all happened here. That is the acknowledgement and the awareness. It all happened here. And I am having a very real reaction presently. However, I'm okay. I had to take a few days to get there because, again, I had to wind down from all that I was feeling and how the tension, and talk about the tension, I could literally feel like my chest, even after I got home, and chest wasn't so tight anymore shortly after I came out of that space and whatever, but my shoulders, my back, everything was just so tense. And had some sessions with my therapist and a couple good friends. And so I was able to process and also utilize all of what I've come to know and I've learned. And I'm getting now to that process where it's just like, it's one of those things, right? But why did I want to have the conversation? Because so many times we hear people talk about the healing journey. And it's as if there is a destination where we're healing with the intent that at some point in time, we're going to get up and we're going to be like, you know what? I've arrived. I have healed. And I'm learning in real time. That's not necessarily how it works. That is not how it works, at least for some of us. I can't speak for all survivors, and I wouldn't dare to. But for me, that was one of my hope, that after being on this journey for some time, and I'm happy, it's a hard journey to be on, but I'm grateful that I've been on the journey, and I'm nowhere close to where I was back then. But I'm also holding space and extending grace to myself and understanding that all of this is happening in real time, and it's a learning process to know that, hey, even though you've been doing the work, triggers happen. Triggers will happen, and sometimes you will not have control over it. You will never be able to tell what, when, where these triggers are going to come up. However, being grateful, I'm grateful that I'm in a different space now where I can actually say, okay, Larissa, this is what's happening. Feel it. Don't run from it. And if you know me, I've been notorious in doing that over the years, but No, I had to sit with it in real time. I had to feel all the feels, everything that was coming up, and had to process. And I can't tell you that I'm completely over it because the story continues. So, one of the reasons I also made the decision to go to Jamaica was a loved one needed me, right? And I ended up having to postpone my flight and stayed there for a few more days because I needed to be in a session with a loved one. It was crazy. But anyhow, extended my time and I went to this individual's session, and she was meeting with her psychiatrist, and I was asked, I didn't impose, but I was asked to be a part of for varying reasons, and I obliged because I knew this person needed me. And so I walked in to this session to support her, and I was very happy and pleased to do it. And what I didn't bargain for, though, is that somewhere during this session, the psychiatrist turned the tables on me and started to ask me questions. Yeah, he did. And the questions, to be very specific, if I can remember everything, it's one, what does trust look like for me? Yeah. Am I open to relationships after? Okay, so let me give context to that too, real quick. Whatever I experienced at the hands of my grandmother's husband came up in the session because, long and short, it was reported, and he wanted, somehow it came up. Okay, I won't go into details about that, but it came up. And this took him by surprise because he wasn't aware of any of that. We were just there to talk about my cousin, but talking about this person, the story, yes. So anyhow, the tables were now reversed, and he asked me, am I open to relationships? And in all honesty, in that moment, I didn't have an answer. My honest reaction at the time, I actually don't have an answer. I didn't. I really didn't. And that for me set off another chain of events. Just a second. I love you. I'll welcome home. Yeah, so I had to be honest in the moment, by telling him I had thought about it loosely, but never really sat with it long enough because, again, healing goes in phases, right? And so I never really gave it much thought. But since then, now I've been sitting with this. The questions have been sitting with me. And I am really trying to sort through and figure out exactly where I am emotionally, mentally, spiritually with these questions. So it was quite funny to me that I went in for her and it turned out. But I ended up walking out carrying something I didn't know that I needed. And it's something that I needed for myself. So I've heard over the years that, and I also know this to be true through various experiences, that the body, after you've experienced adverse trauma, the body holds, or may I say that the brain holds and keeps from you certain things until you're ready and able to process. So I guess in real time, as I said before, there were times that I thought about it loosely about what does it mean for me, but now it's coming up and it stays coming up. So I guess it's time for me to process that part. And so here I am. I still don't have answers, but I'm processing and I'm taking the time to sit with it and feel it out and figure out what I want. What are the angst I still have around dating, trusting, relationships on a whole. So, anyhow, I wanted to address this part, the myth about healing, and that healing has a finish line. It doesn't. The truth is what I'm finding out and what I know for sure. Healing looks different for each and every one of us. It is layered, it is complex, and as you go along your healing journey, you will find that you keep meeting new layers. You do. You keep meeting new layers, and trigger work is constant. Once again, you don't know how and when these triggers are going to present themselves. You're going to have triggers like I did in my grandma's and my grandaunt's house, where it's that real-time PTSD, you're reactive. And I would say this is also a trigger. And it's a different type of a trigger, but it's a trigger nonetheless, because, and why I say that is the trigger is coming from the reason why I had so many walls up and I'm so protective and guarded around relationships and trusting and all of that is because of my past. So the mere fact that I walked into a session that was never meant to be my session, but I ended up walking out with these questions that's now been sitting really heavy. And this is crazy. I was just having a conversation with my girlfriend, and tomorrow we're going to be having a live discussion about what does dating looks like after trauma, and am I ready to date? Am I? And all of this is leading from these sessions and this experience. So again, I'm sharing with you what I am dealing with in real time, and the triggers are coming from every which way, and I am okay. I'm ready to take that one on, and I am still recovering from the reactions that I had that weren't so great. But I am here and I'm still talking. I'm still healing. I am still doing all of this. So this episode is literally just about, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, what does triggers really look like? And do you ever get to a point where you're not being triggered? And for me, I can't speak for everybody else. I don't believe that, right? Because as long as you're on this journey, and that's what it is, a journey, there's going to be layers, there's going to be different aspects of the journey, and you just have to be open to it and know, but just don't allow it to pull you, to suck you under, right? So there's a major difference with being triggered, holding space, dealing with the triggers, processing the triggers, and being destroyed by them. Once upon a time, yeah, I would have been in bed for days, not wanting to talk to anyone, but how things have changed. And as for the dating question, that trigger, all it's triggered me into is now new work. New work that I have to do. So am I ready? I am actually ready. Now I'm really going into deep thinking about how I want to process. And I am processing and I'm taking my time. So I'm doing that work. I'm doing new work in addition to my old work. So what can I say? For me, the goal is not to never get triggered. The goal is, at least for me in this present time, the goal is to know what to do when you are. So let me say that again. The goal for me is not to never get triggered, because I don't think that's possible. The goal is to know what to do, how to operate, how to help yourself through the triggers. So, yeah, this is what to do when you are triggered. So, as I'm winding down, because I think this has gone on for a little bit, I want to offer some tools that really helped me. And it helped me in grounding myself and bringing myself back, not going off into the land of doomsville like before. So for starters, I had to really sit down and name what I was feeling, what was coming up in my body, right? I had to speak the truth about what I was feeling, what was coming up, and how loud it was coming up. The fact that in that moment, the triggers meant I wasn't safe, and that wasn't true. I had to remind myself, my little girl, that I am safe and am not there anymore. I had to do that, and then I had to draw on some scriptures, y'all. I had to draw the scriptures to remind myself that going into certain spaces, I will have to be cognizant of grounding myself physically first. It's naming, literally putting name, words, feelings to what my body is feeling in real time. It's speaking my truth out loud. I'm sharing with you guys. I have shared with a couple loved ones, my therapist, and it's reminding myself that I am safe. I am not there anymore. I am not that little girl anymore, right? It's doing these type of things in real time. It's having scriptures ready before the triggers come. And that, my dear, that for someone like myself that I don't always remember the scriptures verbatim, but the Holy Spirit is so amazing as He will bring back to you in those moments things that you need to say over yourself. You need to affirm yourself in those moments, right? But you have to prepare yourself before, so you have something to anchor to in those moments when the triggers come. So again, it's preparing yourself before the trigger shows up. It's also giving yourself permission to not have the answers immediately as it pertains to being in that session with my cousin's therapist, her psychiatrist. It's also knowing that I can talk to someone safe. My therapist, as I mentioned before, my trusted friend. It's the fact that I have been journaling, blogging about this since I got back, and I still feel it so intensely. Not for me in the sense, but knowing that others will have these experiences. If not, you're not having this experience now, right? So it's talking about it. It's also, which this one is very, very important because I was notorious for this before. It's not allowing yourself to isolate when you feel triggered, because triggers wants you alone. It wants you alone. It wants you to be silent, right? And that is never a good thing. Never, because then you start ruminating on all the negative stuff and you start feeling down in the dumps. So no, don't give in to that. It's knowing and accepting I am triggered, or I have been triggered. I need to do something about this. It's also asking yourself, what is it that this trigger need from me right now? What is the message that it's sending? What do I need to feel safe? What do I need to answer? What do I need to discover in this moment? And it's also asking yourself, what is it that the younger version, my little girl, needs? Because in that moment, as in being in the bathroom at my grandmother's house, it was my little girl that was reacting. It was my little girl that felt trapped by the throat, but reacting negatively instead of responding, the adult version of myself responding. So I gave her her moment. I did. I gave her her moment. And both of us escaped, came out of the space. But when I was standing by the gate, that's what I was doing in real time. Listening to her, feeling what the feels were. And it went on. It didn't just stop by the gate. But the whole point is I've given her that time to feel, to process what she's been dealing with. And this is why I'm able to have this conversation today. I did that, and I'm doing that. And yeah, that's what it looks like. And then the other part of that is understanding that the grief is layered, because it's grieving the things that happened. And then, believe it or not, I came home to find out that my dear friend Sheena Cardi, Sheena, oh God, let me do this, trying not to get emotional here, but while I was in Jamaica dealing with all of that, unbeknownst to me, my dear friend had met in a motorcycle accident. A motorcycle, a Mercedes-Benz, a Sunday. That's what it took. And this very beloved individual that lived life, man, she lived her life. But her life was cut tragically by someone hitting her off her motorcycle. So coming back and dealing with that, and dealing with another loved one on this side, and their struggles meeting me at my front door. There was a period there that for a few days, and if I'm to be honest, still the tears wouldn't come. The tears still did not come. And it's my reminding myself in real time of Romans 8:26, that in periods or seasons like this, experiences like this, that the Holy Spirit, Christ, it talks about how the groanings, when the wounds are so deep and the words won't come, when I can't cry, he's still carrying it. He's still carrying it. So it's healing while living. It's grieving while living. It's dealing with all of these varying emotions. It's a part of the process. It's also knowing how not to allow it to pull you under. And that, if for nothing else, I am very proud of myself. I'm talking about dealing with layers and layers of different things, and the complexities of healing, and the realities in which you have to deal. All of this is happening simultaneously. Irony, learning of her death. The very place that we met, Facebook, that's how I learned about her death. After we were just speaking, just days before I went to Jamaica. And I'm in real time dealing with that. But as I was saying, I haven't cried yet, because I'm still processing all of that and having to lean on God in real time. It's heavy. But yet, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And that is my message for you today. The triggers won't stop. The aim, the goal, the hope, the prayer is that you get to that space that you can hold all of it, not by yourself, because but God, you can hold, and community. You can hold space. You can carry it, because you're not carrying it by yourself. So between my relationship with God, my therapist, between a couple really core people that I can speak to openly and honestly without judgment. And dare I say, I'm in a space where I am finding even safe males. We'll talk about that later. But safe males to be able to carry my story and hold space for me and my story with nothing, no expectations, no nothing. All of this is new for me. But it's real. It's happening. It's reality. So, with that said, I think we're probably about an hour in. What do I really want to say to you, as this is my first solo episode going away from what I had intended? My reminder for you today is that you're not broken. You're not broken at all. You haven't gone backwards when you're experiencing triggers. No, you've just met the very next layer of your healing. And what that layer is asking for is your attention in real time. So, like me, what I would suggest, or we all have our different ways of processing, is to sit with it, name it, call it what it is. Figure out the tools that you want to use and apply. And if you don't know, seek, go searching. What are some healthy tools, some healthy ways to process? Talk with God. He's always with you in all of it, right? And be reminded that that's what I have to be doing in real time, that the same God, I don't know where that came from, but the same God who walked with me through the last layers is walking with me now. So in closing, I leave you with Psalms 34:18 to remind you that He's not distant. He's close, very close, closer than you think. And also that healing is not a destination. It's a practice, an everyday practice. It's showing up every single day. It's understanding that you're still in it. It's reminding you that there's still work to be done. It's telling you that that's enough. And you are enough. You are enough. That's what I have to keep telling myself, so I'm telling you. You are enough. The work is going to be there. You're going to be in process. It's a journey, and we're journeying. I invite you on this journey with me as we journey to free and awaken to purpose together. And yeah, just a reminder, I love you. I see you. Let's journey to free together. All right? From my heart to yours. I'm Larissa, signing off. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.